They'll tell you it's about help. Humanitarian aid, democracy, stability. But every time America shows up in Africa, something gets taken, not given. The soil gets mined, the leaders get flipped, and the people get pushed further into systems they never chose. Why is America always in Africa's business? Because Africa is the business. The flags came down, but the hands stayed in. What Europe started with colonial rule, America continued through influence, debt, and force. They didn't need direct rule anymore. They just needed the resources to keep flowing and the governments to keep complying. Congo bleeds cobalt. Nigeria pumps oil. Ghana ships out gold. Sudan breaks under engineered division. And in the background, America plays diplomat while backing dictators, funding rebellions, and handing out sanctions like candy. What colonialism used to do with whips and rifles, the IMF and World Bank now do with contracts and clauses. African nations are lured into loans, buried under interest, and told to cut public services to grow. But the only thing that grows is dependence. America doesn't just lend money, they lend control. Who gets elected? What gets privatized? What trade deals are signed? Debt becomes a leash, and someone in D.C. holds the handle. They tell us it's about fighting terrorism, about building security. But AFRICOM, the U.S. military command in Africa, isn't just watching, it's positioning. U.S. bases in Djibouti, Kenya, Niger. Joint training that turns into occupation. Drones in the sky, boots on the ground. And somehow, wherever the U.S. sends weapons, the violence doesn't stop. It spreads. Because the goal isn't peace, it's presence. It's control of the land before the next superpower gets there. When a leader won't play ball, the game changes. Suddenly, protests erupt. Suddenly, rebels get weapons. Suddenly, there's a humanitarian crisis that needs intervention. From Lumumba in Congo to Sankara in Burkina Faso, America has a track record. If you try to lead Africa for Africans, you become a target. Freedom fighters become threats. Self-reliance becomes instability. And who gets installed after? A puppet. A yes man. Someone who keeps the contracts flowing. The media won't tell you this. They'll show starving children, warlords, and poverty. They won't show the mineral deals, the stolen elections, the corporate pipelines. They'll say Africa is corrupt, but never ask who taught the system. They'll say Africa is poor, but never ask why $1 trillion in wealth leaves the continent each year. This isn't journalism, it's misdirection. And it's global, but the veil is lifting. Young Africans are waking up. They're questioning old alliances. They're calling out the puppets. They're reclaiming land, language, and legacy. From Accra to Kinshasa, from Nairobi to Bamako, the drums of self-determination are getting louder. The youth aren't just protesting. They're organizing, building, planning. And the world is watching. America may still play its games. The NGOs will still pretend. The corporations will still mine. But what's changing is the mind of the people. And once a mind wakes up, it can't be colonized again. So when you ask, why is America always in Africa's business? The answer is simple. Because Africa is the business. But the people, they're becoming the power. And that's the one thing America was never ready for. They tried to steal Africa's body. Now, they fear its mind. Because a liberated mind can't be misled. It sees the tricks. It feels the energy. It doesn't get lost in aid speeches or diplomatic masks. It watches the handshake and the hand behind the back. It studies the sanctions. It questions the partnerships. It asks, who benefits when they show up with a smile and leave with a contract? This generation isn't fooled. We've seen what they did to Sankara, Gaddafi, Lumumba. We know what they did in Libya, Angola, Somalia. We know how they weaponized the UN, the NGOs, the media, how they used religion, currency, and language to create borders inside us. But we're erasing those borders, relearning the names, rewriting the story, reclaiming the rhythm. Now it's not just about protest signs. It's policy, technology, land reclamation, Pan-African tech startups, diaspora capital flowing back, local farming movements, cultural revival. It's power, not borrowed power, not negotiated power, but power from the root. And that power can't be sanctioned, can't be overthrown, can't be ignored, because it's not on paper, it's in spirit. Africa is rising, but not because America allows it, because Africa is remembering itself. And once memory returns, colonizers become irrelevant. This is what they fear, not the guns, not the governments, but the awakening, the undeniable knowing that everything stolen can be rebuilt, that every lie told can be undone, that every scar is a story, and every story is a spark. We are the spark now. And the fire is coming. They fought Africa with chains. Now they fight it with choice, not by forcing, but by influencing. Not with bullets, but with branding, balance sheets, and beliefs. You see, the new colonization doesn't come in a uniform. It comes through what you watch, what you wear, what you worship. They don't have to invade your country if they can occupy your mind. They flood the markets with food that weakens the body. They fund religious doctrine that praises obedience but not sovereignty. They give you technology that listens, watches, predicts. And in exchange, they ask for nothing except your habits, your attention, your culture, your future. Currency becomes a weapon. Language becomes a filter. Even faith becomes a fence. Used to divide, label, and shame. But we see it now. The programs in our schools, the doctrines in our churches, the trends in our music, it's not accidental, it's engineering. Because if they can make you ashamed of your roots, you'll never dig deep enough to stand in your truth. If they can flood you with distraction, you'll never focus long enough to remember who you were. But we're remembering now. We're fasting from what poisons us. We're praying in our original tongue. We're reconnecting with the land, not just to grow food, but to grow memory. The ancestors weren't just symbols. They were scientists, warriors, spiritual architects. And their blood still flows in us. It's why the system fears our rhythm. It's why our music moves the world. It's why our skin absorbs sun like scripture. It's why we survive every system designed to erase us. We are not weak. We are not behind. We were interrupted. But now we're writing the code again, on our terms, on our soil, in our frequency. They can't stop what's spiritual. They can't colonize what's ancestral. They can't monetize what they don't understand. We don't need permission. We need memory, and we're getting it back. Heartbeat by heartbeat, village by village, soul by soul. They thought the world would stay blind, that Africa would stay quiet, that the diaspora would stay divided. But the rhythm is shifting. Because from Harlem to Haiti, from Lagos to London, we're starting to recognize each other in the struggle. The same game, different stage, same oppression, different costume, same empire, different flag. They want us separated. They built borders, currencies, and categories to keep us from seeing that we were always one people. Scattered, but never broken. But now, we're reconnecting. Not just through ancestry tests, but through memory, vision, and fire. We're not waiting for unity, we're becoming it. Through tech that bypasses their banks. Through land we buy back instead of beg for. Through digital currencies they can't inflate. Through voices so global they can't be silenced. This isn't just resistance anymore, it's resurrection. And they feel it. That's why they push harder. More surveillance, more censorship, more chaos disguised as order. But it's too late. The spiritual realm already shifted. Ancestors are active. And their prayers are louder than their propaganda. We're waking up from every lie. The lie that we're weak. The lie that we're late. The lie that we need them to define our worth. We don't. We are the descendants of rhythm and resistance, of healing and high science, of drums that spoke before telephones, of visionaries who moved stars without satellites. We don't just survive, we activate. And now the movement isn't local, it's planetary. We see what they do in Haiti. We see what they do in the Congo. We see what they do in Palestine. And we understand it's one system with many faces. But we're done asking, done pleading, done explaining. We're building, we're organizing, we're returning, physically, mentally, spiritually. They tried to keep us scattered. Now we're a signal, a pulse, a rising frequency. You can't stop a vibration. You can't kill a prophecy. You can't hide the truth forever. It's here now. They talk about wars with tanks and bombs. But the real war is unseen. It moves through thoughts. It seeps through screens. It slides into your algorithm and poisons your peace. This is psychological warfare, a quiet colonization of your spirit. And most don't even see it happening. They keep you entertained so you forget to be intentional. They keep you angry so you never get aligned. They keep you comparing so you never get centered. And when you start rising, they shadow ban, they distract, they label, because your awakening is dangerous to their control. A conscious soul breaks the spell, and they don't have a weapon for that. They built the system to feed off your energy, your trauma, your fear, your insecurity. They monetize your pain, they study your behavior, and then they sell you the illusion of choice. But the ancestors are whispering louder now. You can feel it in the way your intuition burns, in the way certain songs feel like memory, in the way the truth hits your chest like thunder. This isn't coincidence. It's a return, a spiritual frequency rising through the chaos. And it's not asking permission. The more you fast from their lies, the clearer the download becomes. The more you sit in stillness, the louder the guidance gets. Because the battlefield isn't just outside. It's in the mind, in the habits, in the identity they assigned you. But now you remember your own name, not the one they gave you. The one your DNA carries, the one your spirit knows. You are not powerless. You are not broken. You are not behind. You are chosen. You are aligned. You are part of a prophecy older than any empire. And no government, no fund, no algorithm can erase what was written in your bones. That's why they fear the ones who sit in silence, the ones who question, the ones who build, the ones who don't look away. Because once the spell is broken, the system has no more control. And the world begins to shift. Africa is rising, not in theory, not in hashtags, but in silence, strategy, and soil. It's not just a movement, it's a return, a remembering, a resurrection. The youth aren't waiting for handouts. They're building apps in Accra, farming their grandparents' land with new seeds in Kenya, launching crypto networks in Nigeria, designing their own education in Rwanda. They're speaking in code, in rhythm, in spirit. No middleman, no translation. They're learning that power is not given, it's remembered. The elders prayed for this. The ancestors saw it in visions. And now we're living the prophecy. Africa isn't the future. Africa is the original blueprint. The land where the sun rises first, where time began, where the world was seeded before it was stolen. And now the land is calling her children back. Not just physically, but spiritually. To heal what was torn, to build what was broken, to finish what was interrupted. Africa is rising in the mind, in the rhythm, in the resistance, in the refusal to be erased. No more begging for a seat, no more justifying our worth, no more translating our power into their language. We are the seat, we are the standard, we are the source. Let them stare, let them deny. Let them try to slow it down. The pulse of the continent is louder than their policies. The wisdom in our blood is deeper than their data. The light in our eyes is stronger than their narratives. We don't rise because they allow it. We rise because we remember. We rise because we've already survived what was meant to end us. We rise because we are the only thing this world can't copy. Africa is not rising. Africa has risen. And this time, we're not folding, we're not forgetting, we're not leaving, we're home.